Well, this time last week we were looking forward to 40-degree heat in the UK. We were wondering how would our layouts get on. So let's see, did it survive? Well, good morning everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly Model Railways. Now, you don't normally hear me saying that. The reason being is this is one of the rare ones where I actually look at both layouts. And I do want to have a quick look and see how did the track fare on both layouts. And then there's some other track things that I want to show you on the 00 gauge. So this was the area that I was probably more concerned about because there's a lot of points around here. Not that points expand any more than anything else, but if there was going to be a problem, chances are it would be in this section. But as you can see, it all seems to be absolutely fine. And I've been round the whole layout, and on a reasonably good glance, I can't see anything. I still haven't finished or repaired this bit yet and that point, because these points need, that needs cutting back a bit, and this point needs moving that way a little bit more to give some space there. But there's nothing out the ordinary. It all seems to be okay. Well, I was most concerned about these little things on posts, to be honest, because they're quite thin and narrow. But if you look carefully into the station, you'll see that they're absolutely fine. Why did I worry? And now to the 00 gauge layout. Well, as I just said, this one seems to be completely unaffected as well. I mean, having said that, I say no problems whatsoever. Obviously these tracks here will expand, and what I have found is that some of the tracks have expanded a little bit, so when I move the traverser they've caught. So that's just being aware of it and just sliding the tracks back along, because they're still free, it's only screwed down. So I've been able to adjust things that way, and it seems okay. But there is something I do want to show you. I've got two curve points. Those are new. I don't mind second-hand electrofrog, but when it comes to insult frog, I think they've got to be absolutely perfect. The reason for that is because we're relying on this connection here, and these points don't come in electrofrog. So I think I want to get them as clean as possible. This section of the layout is not going to be scenic, so it should be fairly easy to keep clean. It's only dust that's going to cause any issues, and again, if I vacuum fairly regularly and give it a good wipe over with isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush fairly regularly, it should be okay. Right, so I am going to do this. What I first need to do is to mark off where that comes and cut, and again mark off where that comes and cut, and then we'll deal with this bit a bit later on. Okay, so I'll get... Welcome back. So as you can see, I've got those 2 points in and the crossover parts. Did need a bit of trimming, as you probably have realised, and I have left enormous gaps just in case. Okay, so it is tight there, but there's gaps all over the place. Okay, so what I have done, I've just done a test with the 66 and found out that this section now has no power, that section has no power, this section has no power. So what I've got to do is take some droppers from the bus wire, which goes underneath the board around about there, cut it, put a terminal block in, and then put another terminal block around about this area, and then take wires to the varying parts of the layout. remember in the last double O gauge video, I was saying that the tracks are constantly needing to be adjusted. So what I've decided to do is print off these track spacers, and they are a bit like this. Now, they've come out a bit lumpy bumpy, and I'm trying to investigate the reason for that, so altering some settings. But it's basically just like a very flat T shape, and that obviously just sits in between the tracks. 3 screw holes to make sure it's nice and firm, and then the tracks are rammed up tight against those, and that is literally just below the track surface, as you can see there. So that, I'm hoping, won't cause any problems. I've run trains on most of the tracks now, and I've had trains flying across them at high speed, particularly the APT there, and that's had no issues whatsoever. So really pleased about that. I am going to put them down here, because you can see, even though these tracks are lined up, the 2 running lines, but that one isn't, and nor are they. So I do need to adjust that, but again, that shouldn't be a problem. Once I get these spacers put in, then the tracks can be closed up against them, and that should hopefully hold them at the right position. I'm in the process at the moment of printing them for this end of the traverser, so they come on this side, actually on the traverser. Right, just a very brief update on these plates as well. You can see I've got all of those fitted there, bar that last one. That track needs to be brought over, and I'm almost finished printing a load more to go the other end. And you may also realise, if you can see that, I've managed to solve the problem with smoothing out. They're quite lumpy bumpy. That's because I switched to Cura 5.1, just did standard settings. Seems to work. So I'll get those on and I'll show you perhaps another time. All right. And so to the other one. Well, there's the junction in place. That's the point I got from Corby and Districts Club. Thank you for that, Francis. And this one is the one I had already, but as you probably have mentioned, is an insole frog. So the Electrofrog is on its way, but I wanted to get that in. So all I have to do then is just fold back the fish plates and slot the new one into place. So that shouldn't take too long. But I wanted to get the track running and kind of get it tested, if you know what I'm saying. So I've got to wire up those 2 tracks here. I've got to wire up this point, and then eventually this point as well will have a connection on it. So hopefully it should work with just the 3 connections. We'll see how it goes. All right, speak soon. Well, as you can see, I've now got trains running over this section, and you'll see the 33 making its way round just there, and will come round here. Now, these couple of points are not been without their problems, mainly because these are the replacements. That was the one that was expected, but sadly, Francis, I'm really sorry, but the point was causing a short and wouldn't accept the frog juicer. So I thought it probably just easier if I went and bought a new one. So that's exactly what I did. And as you can see, it's running without any problems. And I'll just insert now a clip of a train going over the crossover. So as the 33 works its way round to this crossover at this end, you'll see it cross over here and without issue too. And all the coaches are going across again without any issues. Now if I take you down here before it gets there, you'll also see that it crosses over there beautifully. So why have I done this? I'll show you. So as you can see, I'm using it now so that platform is now multi-directional, and trains can literally just cross over back onto the right line, if you like. And it's also can be used for a run round. So if a train comes in this direction, it can then stop and have the locomotive go back to the other end and then take it out the other way. So lots of different options available now, and I'm just so glad I've done it because I think it really will give a lot more playability to the layout as well. Now, I've got a special video coming up next, but very, very soon, as I've said before, the wretched windows are going to be replaced, which means this board here will need to come out, and I think I'm going to take the opportunity to move the layout this way a little bit, purely because I can't get down this gap, and when I need to get to the fiddle yard it just becomes a little bit awkward. I have to crawl about underneath, whereas I think giving it an extra foot or so will just make an enormous amount of difference. Okay, I think I'm going to leave the video there. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you again very, very soon here on Piccadilly Model Railways. Bye for now.